Hey yogis, Christy Price here, and we're going to do a chair yoga exercise today. And all you need, of course, no props, just yourself and a chair. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start in our seated Tadasana pose or seated mountain pose. I want you to look down at your toes, and if there were an imaginary line going across the front of your toes, one foot is not further in front of the other foot, but they're touching that line at the exact same space. I want you to lift your toes up, press your heels down, feel how the quadriceps, the thighs, start to engage. Keep pressing the heels down, gently let the toes come back to the floor. Press the heels down again. And then notice, what is your default, okay? Do you tend to lean forward and sit more on the front of the sits bones? Do you tend to lean back and sit more on the back of the sits bones, okay? So you can't change your default until you're actually aware of it. Now I want you to start to rock forward and back on those sits bones, and you're gonna notice for yourself, where's my center? Where is neutral for me? Where am I not on the front, but I'm also not on the back? Instead, I'm right in the middle, okay? And then when you find that right in the middle space, I want you to stay there. Press those heels down again. Pull the belly in very gently. Lift up through the front of the spine and let the shoulders roll back and down. We'll start class with 3 cleansing breaths. So close your eyes, take a deep inhalation, and as you exhale, open the mouth, sigh it out. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhaling and then opening the mouth, sighing it out. And of course, again, inhaling and sighing it out on the exhalation. And after you take those 3 sighs, allowing the breath now just to come in through the nose, also out through the nose. And letting your eyes gently open, coming back into the space that we are sharing. Perfect. All right, so what we're going to start with today is something that is referred to as active relaxation. So there's something called passive relaxation. Active relaxation is where you actually engage the muscles that you're trying to relax. You contract them, you squeeze them, and then you let them go. And a lot of times it can have a really profound effect on allowing those muscles to relax a little bit deeper. So what I want you to do is to squeeze the shoulders, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears, squeeze the muscles in the neck. You're breathing as you're doing it, of course. And then as you exhale, you're going to drop the shoulders and sigh. Okay, let's do that again. So squeeze the shoulders up, breathe as you do it. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Open the mouth, sigh, and drop. Great. We're going to do that one more time. Bring it on up. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And drop it. Awesome. Very nice. All right, let's take a few shoulder rolls back and down here. Notice if you're still pressing through the heels or if that became light. If you did, press down a little bit harder. Good. Now we're going to do one shoulder at a time here, and feel free to get your torso involved, right? So you're allowing the torso to move. Starting to get a little bit of a side body stretch here. Great. And then bring yourself all the way back to center. Now have you come through a few seated cat-cows. I like to demonstrate cat-cow from a sideways position. So I'm going to turn my chair, but you can stay exactly how you are. Now when I teach cat-cow in a chair, I like to have individuals move starting with the tailbone and then ending with the head. So you're moving and rolling up and down the spine almost like it's one vertebra at a time. So not one big movement all at once, but instead it'll look more like this. As you exhale, tailbone's coming forward. You're gonna round the low back, the middle back, the upper back. Let the head drop. You're gonna inhale, lift the tailbone, arch the low back, the middle back, the upper back. Let the head lift. Okay, your breath, your pace here. Nice and slow. I always like to note as well, if it doesn't feel good for you to look up towards the ceiling, if that causes any pain in your neck, you're welcome to just continue to look straight ahead at the top of that inhalation. Let's do one more cat, one more cow here. And then we'll meet back in our neutral seated Tadasana, seated mountain pose. Beautiful. So pressing down through the heels, you're going to reach your right arm out to the side. Okay. Anytime that your chest is open like this is going to be an inhalation. Anytime you close off the chest, that is going to be an exhalation. So right now, you take a deep inhalation. I want you to reach the fingertips out, feel a little stretch happening in the arm itself. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring it across the body, touch the shoulder, and then inhale, swoop it across the chest, open back up. So every exhale, bringing it across the body. Every inhale, extending back out. So again, moving with your breath at your own individual pace here. Good. Let's do one more on this side. And then letting that hand come all the way down, extend out the left arm. As you exhale, bring it across the body, tap the shoulder, inhale, extend and reach. Good. As you exhale, you close the chest, and as you inhale, you open and extend. All right, two more. And a last one here. Beautiful. Go ahead and meet with your hands on your thighs, and now we're going to move through some barrel rolls. So with barrel rolls, you're essentially moving your torso in a circle. However, the shoulders are not the primary driver. Think of the shoulders being in the passenger seat, in the back seat. The primary driver is going to be, you can think of either your navel or your waist making the circle and initiating that movement. So you're going to start your barrel rolls going whatever direction your body wants to begin with. This can really feel good first thing in the morning if you wake up with some back pain and you want a little bit of a release. Sit down in your chair and just take a few barrel rolls. And it's nice because it stretches the front of the torso, the back of the torso, and both sides. So we're going to do one more circle here. And then we're simply going to reverse that circle. Bring it around other direction. Last circle. Very good. All right, coming back to neutral, press the heels down, lift up through the chest, reach your right arm towards the ceiling. Go ahead and bend your elbow. If you can maybe place it behind your head, go for it. If you can place it behind your back, go for it. And you're going to take your left foot and walk your leg out. So if there are hip mobility issues, certainly your leg's not going to walk as far out. If there are not, then you're going to let it come out as far as it will go. And you're going to drop your forearm down, pull the elbow back, reach the elbow up, okay? So this is me just hanging out. This is me engaging, okay? If it's too much stretch, you can let the elbow come forward. If you want more, elbow comes back, and you start to turn your chest towards the ceiling. And breathe deeply. Nice big slow breaths. Beautiful. Bring yourself all the way back up. Hands on the thighs. Walk your foot back. And other side, lift the left arm. Bend the elbow, either place it behind your head or maybe behind your back. Pull the elbow back and then walk the right foot out. Again, same thing with mobility issues here. And then dropping the forearm down. If you want less stretch, the elbow's coming more forward. If you'd like more stretch, pull the elbow back, reach it up, open the chest towards the ceiling, and take some deep breaths. Slowly bring it all the way back up, hands on the thighs, and walk it back to neutral. So for this next position, I'm actually going to have you come forward a little bit in your chair, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches, okay? And you're going to straighten your right leg, and then I want you to place it on the floor. So you're going to tap your toes down, you're going to swoop it out to the side, and then swoop it back to the other side. Okay, you can do this with your foot on the floor, sliding it. If you want a little more challenge on the hip flexor space, then you're going to lift the foot, tap it to one side, lift the foot, tap it to the other side. If this still feels really easy for you, reach your arms out to the side. Let's do 2 more on each side, 2 more taps, 1 more tap on each side. Beautiful. Bend that knee. You should feel some warmth, some engagement in that hip flexor. And now we do the same on the other side. So left leg straightens, put the foot down, point the toes. Awesome. Then you tap it to one side, bring it to the other side. Again, if you want to slide the foot for a little less challenge here, slide the foot. All right, this is your practice. I'm just guiding you through it. I want you to do what feels good for you. If you want a little more challenge, then you lift the foot, you tap, and you lift the foot, you tap. And always remember there's no right way, there's no wrong way. The right way is the way that feels good for your body and is giving you the right amount of challenge that you're looking for. Good. 2 more on each side. Tap, 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 and tap. Alrighty, so coming back to that seated Tadasana, seated mountain pose here, press down through your heels, and what we're going to do is we are going to stand up in a moment, but I want you to take 3 chair poses before you stand up. So in a moment, we're going to come into chair, we're going to hold chair, then we're going to sit back down, okay? One thing to know alignment-wise for protection and safety of your knees is that when you are in chair pose, you should be able to look down and see all 10 of your toes. If you cannot see your toes, what that is going to tell you is that your weight is far too forward in your feet. It should not be in the balls of the feet. Your toes should not be clenching. Okay, you want all your weight in your heels when you're in chair pose. So I like to start it by lifting my toes, pressing my heels down. You're going to reach your arms forward. When you're ready, press the heels down again, come into chair pose. Arms are just going to be right in front of you. Knees are bent. Check it out. Can you see all 10 of your toes? Make sure you can. Know where your chair is. You're slowly going to sit back down. So we're getting a lot of strength here in our thighs, something that we tend to lose as we get older is our leg strength, okay? A lot of times what happens is we lose our leg strength, we fall, maybe we break a hip, okay? So we're gonna try to navigate through that together by building strength. Let's do that again. Reach forward, come into chair pose, look down. Make sure you can see all 10 toes. Low belly's in just a little bit here in your breathing. Know where your chair is. Bring it on back. Sit down. This time, we're gonna come into chair pose, hold it, and then we're gonna come all the way up to stand. Alrighty, so reach the arms forward, press the heels down, come up into your chair pose. Make sure all 10 toes are visible. Breathe. And then release, inhale, and stand up. Very good. So you are going to come now behind your chair. And I want you to bring your feet wider than your chair. So as you can see, my feet are wider than the chair. They're also pointing outwards. I would say about 60 degrees. And we're gonna break this down. First, we're gonna do the arms, and then we're gonna do the legs, and then you'll have the option to do both together or one or the other, whichever one feels better for you. So right now, since we're focusing on the arms, press the feet down. As you press the feet down, squeeze the muscles of the legs and lift up through the torso. Lift the arms up. Beautiful. As you inhale, you're going to reach the arms up, maybe palms touch. As you exhale, come back to starting position. Okay? Inhaling as you lift, and exhaling as you come back to starting. So if you want this to have a little more engagement, muscular engagement, as you exhale, you're squeezing those shoulder blades towards the spine and really engaging through the upper back. The legs are certainly engaged the whole time. Feet are pressing down. Leg muscles are strong. Good. Inhaling as you lift up. Exhaling as you bring it to center. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, center. All right, take your hands onto the back of the chair. Now we're going to do just the legs. So as you exhale, you're going to bend your knees, okay? If you have knee issues, you can bend your knees just a tiny bit. If you don't have knee issues, you want a little more challenge, you might walk your feet out a little bit more. You might come here, you might come here, right? You might drop down. Go to where is comfortable for you. That's why we have the chair also. As you inhale, you press the feet down, squeeze the legs, squeeze the butt muscles. As you exhale, you bring it down. As you inhale, you bring it back up. One alignment thing to pay attention to is, are your knees pointing to your second and third toe when you bend them? Anytime you bend the knees, second and third toe, you want to be able to see your big toe when you look down. Otherwise, the knees are tracking in too much, and then you can start to put some wear and tear on those inner ligaments. Okay, so you bend those knees, make sure the big toes are visible, and you squeeze at the top. Let's do one more. Perfect. Now you have the option to only do the arms, to only do the legs, or if you feel really balanced and secure, you can do both of them together. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to lift my arms up. Inhale. Exhale. Right? Inhale. Exhale. So on my inhalation, my legs are squeezing, my muscles are engaged. On my exhalation, my upper back is engaged. My shoulder blades are squeezing, right? Inhale up. Exhale down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. 1 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Perfect. Go ahead and grab the chair. Walk your feet back in. And then you can stay where you are. Of course, I'm going to turn for demonstration purposes here so you can see my legs a little bit better. We are going to do what I call this skiing, essentially. So you're standing behind your chair. Your hands are on the back of the chair seat. You're going to bend your knees, okay? Check it out. Of course, make sure that you can see your left toes. Now, you're going to slide the right foot out, slide it back in, slide it out, slide it in. Try not to round. Stay up, slide it out, slide it in. This feels really easy. Lift and tap, lift and tap, lift and tap, lift and tap. So the right leg is the one that we're moving, but the one that you're really going to start to feel working is actually the left leg. All right, know that as your muscles work, they need oxygen. How do your muscles get oxygen? You breathe deeper. Okay, so big breaths. Good, stand up, maybe shake the legs for a moment. We're going to do it going backwards with the right leg. So bend the knees. Make sure you can see your left big toes. Tap it back. Bring it in. If it feels better for you to slide, slide. Nothing wrong with that. One more. Stand it up. Shake it out. Other side. Okay, so I'm just going to turn around once again, simply to demonstrate so you can see my legs. Bend the knees. You better be able to see all 5 of your right toes. Slide it out. Bring it in. Right? Slide it out. Bring it in. If you prefer to tap, you can tap. So now the left leg is the leg that is doing most of the moving, but you should be feeling a lot of work in your right hip, your right glute, your right leg. Two more. And stand it up. Shake it out. You know where we're going next. So, bend the knees. Make sure you see the right toes. Step or slide the left foot back. Bring it up. Step or tap. Slide. Good. Whatever feels better for you. Two more. 1 and 2. Stand it up. Depending on what kind of chair you're using, you're either going to turn your chair around so that it's facing you, or you're going to go around to the other side of the chair. Okay? And you want to stand in front of it, feet hip distance apart. We're going to move through some sun salutations, chair style. Notice if you lean forward, if you're someone who like hangs out and puts a lot of weight on the front of their foot, the ball of the foot. You see, since I'm on camera, you can see how my legs are slanted. Okay, I want you to lift the toes. Right now I'm still on the balls of my feet. Lift the toes, take the weight back into your heels almost to the point where you feel like you're gonna fall backwards, but please don't. And then now you see my legs are straight, right? I'm going straight up and down. The weight right now is in my heels. So that's just something to pay attention to, especially when you're out and about and you're standing around in line or standing and talking to somebody. Really put a lot of weight in your heels, because what that does is it stacks your bones up so that your muscles don't have to work as hard. Alrighty, so inhale, reach those arms high. Exhale, forward fold, hands on the chair. Go ahead and bend your right knee. Lift your left arm, twist. If this is too much stretch, modify by placing your hand on your hip. Beautiful. Bring it back to center, other side. Bend the left knee, lift the right arm, twist. Bring it back to center. Walk it back, downward facing dog. So your feet come back. Your hips are over your feet. They're over your ankles. Arms are straight. Let the head drop. Good. Look forward. Warrior one, right side. Right knee's going to bend.
Kick the left toes out a little bit. You can keep your hands right here. If you want a little more challenge, press the feet down. You put your hands on the back of the chair. If you want more challenge, you can lift the torso, place your hands on your hips. And if you want to come to the full expression of the pose, hands will lift into the air. The right knee is bent. You should be able to see your right big toe. And I want you to focus on this back leg. Push the leg towards the back wall. So here's me not really engaging my back leg. Right leg's getting really tired. Push it back. Push the thigh back. Push the heel down. Then the right leg doesn't have to do all the work. Breathe here. Beautiful. Take the hands back to the chair if they're not there already. Step it back. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha. Good. Left leg forward, warrior one. Bend the left knee. Kick the right toes out so the right heel's on the floor. You can either stay here with your hands down, come here. You want more challenge, hands are on the hips. You want the most amount of challenge, arms lift into the air, palms face one another. But again, focus not on the left leg, focus on the right leg, right? Push it back, push. Push the thigh back, push the heel down. Then you can take some of that pressure off of the left leg. Breathe here. Beautiful. Take those hands back to the seat of the chair. Come into a forward fold. Left leg back, right leg forward. Nice little forward fold. If you want to stay here, you can. If you want to take a chair pose, you can. You take chair, you bend the knees. Make sure you can see all 10 toes. Maybe you lift the arms. Chair pose. Good. Inhale, rise and shine, arms above the head. Exhale, back to the heart. We're going to do that one more time, a little faster, and we'll add a high lunge. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Bend your right knee, lift the left arm, twist. Modify, put your hand on your hip. Switch sides, bend the left knee, lift the right arm, twist. Beautiful. Come back to center, walk it back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha. Look forward, warrior one, right side. So right leg comes forward, knee bends. Kick the left toes out so your left heel comes down. Hands can stay on the chair. Hands can come to the hips. Hands can come into the air. Okay, push back through that left leg, breathe. Take your hands back to the seat of the chair if they're not there already. We're coming to high lunge right now. So if you pay attention to my left foot, the back foot, this is warrior one. My hip is open a little bit. High lunge, you're gonna lift the heel and come up onto the ball of foot. Now you see my hips are more pointed forward. Warrior one, high lunge, okay? I consider high lunge a balance pose, okay? Even though both of your feet are on the floor. And I just say that because if you feel unbalanced, keep your hands down. So you might stay here. You might come to your fingertips and just test that out a little bit. How does that feel? Push back through that left leg. Push it back, right? Push it back. Squeeze the inner thighs together. If you feel super balanced on your fingertips, maybe you come onto your hips. Roll the shoulders back. Lift through the chest. Push back a lot through the left leg. So we're doing this to stretch out that hip flexor that we worked to strengthen earlier. Beautiful. Take the hands down if they're not already there. Bring it back, downward facing dog. And left leg forward, warrior one. So left knee bends. Kick the right toes out, put the heel down. You see my hip is a little open here. Find the hand position, chair, hips, up, okay? Push back through that right leg, push it back, push it back. Beautiful. Take the hands back to the chair if they're not there already. Come into high lunge. So if you pay attention to my right heel, my back heel, I'm going to lift it up. Warrior one, high lunge. Warrior one, high lunge. Okay, so my hips are forward now. Press back through that right leg. Push it back, push it back, push it back. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Maybe come to your fingertips. How does it feel? Maybe you feel super sturdy. Maybe you feel very balanced. And you play with coming up to your hips. If you get there and you're like, I don't really feel as balanced as I thought, please put your hands back on the chair. Press back through that right heel, lift up through the chest. Beautiful. Place your hands on the chair if they're not there already. Come into your forward fold. Left foot back, right foot forward. If you want to take your last chair pose of the day, you can. Otherwise, hang out here in forward fold. Nothing wrong with that. If you're taking chair, weights in the heels, bend the knees, drop the hips. Make sure you can see all 10 toes. And if you want to add on to it, you lift the hands. Everybody inhale, rise and shine, arms up above the head. And exhale to the heart. Beautiful. Alrighty, so I would like for everybody to now have a seat in your chair. We're going to end with a pigeon pose. So pigeon pose is a really nice hip stretcher. If you have sciatica, if you have any issues with the sciatic space, if you have tight hips, this is a fabulous stretch to do for you. Okay, so you're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee. Flex your foot, it protects your knee. Lift the chest up. So what I find a lot of times is that people come into this pose and they round the back and they do this, and it actually completely takes the stretch away. But if you press that left heel down and you lift the chest up, lengthen through the front of the spine, you're going to get that stretch. Maybe in the outer thigh, maybe the hip, maybe the glute, maybe a little bit of everything. If you're here and you're like, I think I could do a little bit more, I would prefer more stretch, you're going to lean forward, but you're not going to let the back round. So I want you to think about taking your chest, bringing it over the shin, right? So the chest stays elevated. And you breathe here. We stay here about 30 seconds. Notice if you're clenching your teeth. Notice if your jaw's tight. Any of those things happening. Okay. And release out of that, same way you came in. Switch sides. Okay, so left ankle over right knee. Something to pay attention to is that one hip is going to be tighter than the other hip. Okay, for each person it's different, certainly. But you want to flex the foot, protect the knee. Notice if you're rounding the back. Okay, the body always wants to go the path of least resistance, right? Doesn't necessarily want to get a deep stretch. So lift the chest up, press that right heel down, lift through the front of the spine. If you're here and you think, I could use a little bit more, then start to lean forward. But think of taking the chest and moving it over the shin. So you keep this nice neutral spine and the back does not round. And again, we're here for 30 seconds. Breathe. Sometimes taking some really deep sighs can feel nice in this position. Notice if the teeth are clenching.
Stick with it, only 10 seconds left, not much. Great. Slowly bring yourself back out of that. Very nice. Take a moment, close your eyes. Observe how you feel. Notice the flow of your breath. See if it's possible to allow the breath to deepen any amount. Perhaps you take this moment to think about something unique and special about yourself that if somebody were talking to one of your loved ones, what would they tell that person is like your unique gift? What is it about you that puts a smile on their face, that lights them up? And just take a moment and connect that to your energetic heart space, which is the center of the chest, about 2 inches behind the sternum. And then when you're ready, allow your eyes to very gently and slowly open back up. Great. Thank you so much for joining me for that. You are welcome to pop over to one of the relaxation or breathing videos that are posted on the channel and finish class up with that. But otherwise, I end by saying thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure to see you. And I will say peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, peaceful intentions, and namaste. Much love, guys.